Hey guys, good morning. Today's January 27th, day 27 of Wise Up. We're so close to the end. Thanks for joining us today. I'm really excited to share this passage, because it's kind of something that can be tough because we have to talk about a couple important things. But here's what the passage says. It's Proverbs 27:7. It says, "Wounds of a sincere friend are faithful, and they are better than many kisses from an enemy." Have you ever been hurt by a friend? Think about that. I'm willing to bet that most of us have, if not all of us, have been hurt by somebody who's close to us. Now, on the other side of things, think about a time where maybe somebody treated you well or said nice things to you, but really in the end, they turned out to be playing a game, or they really didn't want to be your friend. They just wanted something out of you. That's kind of what our passage is talking about today. And if I could boil it down to one thing, it's this. It's better to have a good thing even though it's hard. The right thing, even if it's difficult, is still good. And it's better than having something that's wrong, but that feels good or that sounds good, right? C.S. Lewis, you've probably heard of him, but he wrote these incredible books. Right? He wrote a lot of incredible books, but specifically he wrote this series. It's called The Chronicles of Narnia. I'm sure you've seen the movie, or maybe you've even read the books. It's amazing. Gosh, you should read them. You should check them out. But they're so rich with theology, which, as we've talked about before, is really just a big word that means studying God, studying the things of God, right? And so he wrote these books to challenge people and to teach people about Christian things, about God, about how to live our life and how this journey of faith is, right? Kind of how it works. So in the first story, however, there's 4 siblings, but the youngest brother, his name is Edmund, falls into a super dangerous trap. The witch, who is, the bad person, she befriends Edmund. She becomes close to him. She shares with him really nice things, fine delicacies. She treats him so well, and he begins to feel loved by her, and she encourages him, and she talks to him about how great he's going to be and all of this. But in the end, she's just like what King Solomon here is saying. She's just an enemy who multiplies kisses. She doesn't actually care about Edmund. She's actually an enemy, but she's worked hard to disguise herself as a friend. And so to Edmund, he didn't realize, he didn't know, he just followed what sounded good, what felt good, what seemed to be right, because he wasn't discerning the difference between the truth from Aslan, the truth from his brother and sisters. He couldn't discern between that and the enemy who is just multiplying kisses, because that sounded better to him. That seemed better to him at the time. Here's the truth with this verse, is that God gives us and uses people in our life to sanctify us, right? He sanctifies us through his word and through his body, through his people. And so he uses the people in our lives to challenge us, to change us, to show us his grace and his love and his forgiveness. And that's a tangible way that we experience that from him. But Proverbs also tells us this, that as iron sharpens iron, so one man sharpens another. So it really brings this verse right into perspective, doesn't it? Sometimes friends can hurt us, and it feels like they don't care about us, or it feels like they may be trying to hurt us, but really they're doing the right thing. Now, that doesn't mean that's always the case. Sometimes people can be harsh and can be wrong, and there may be forgiveness that needs to be sought there. But sometimes we can feel like we're being wounded by a friend. Now, think about that. A wound isn't just a little thing, but it's something that cuts deep. But sometimes our friends are right. But on the other end of things, just like we talked about it a second ago, sometimes it sounds better to get these kind words from an enemy, from other people who really don't have our best interest in mind. So it takes discernment in bringing friends into our life and sharing with them kind of the deepest, most intimate things. I think it takes two things in order to kind of live this out. We're going to close with this. It takes honesty and accountability. And here's what I mean. It means that we have to commit as believers that we will live an honest life with one another. And that means sharing with our deepest friends and our closest friends, not just everybody, the things in our life that are struggles, the things that are hard, the things that we feel like we can't overcome. Those things that our friends may have to call us out for from time to time. That they may say, hey, you said that you wanted to do this, but you're living contrary to that. Or, hey, you and I, we're following Jesus, but we're living this way, and we shouldn't be. Sometimes that feels like your friend doesn't really care about your happiness, but really, you've just been blinded by whatever the situation is. God uses our friends to bring us around to know the truth sometimes, and sharpens us as iron sharpens iron. Now, friends don't do that. Friends shouldn't be calling us out, and we shouldn't be calling each other out to make each other feel less or anything like that. And it certainly doesn't mean that if your friend is calling you out for something like that, that he or she is perfect and doesn't have any flaws or any issues of their own. And so that's where humility comes in, learning to understand that the truth can still be true, okay? Or the truth still is true, I'm sorry. And so we look at our friends, we look at how we give them that ability to speak truth into our lives. And that's how we learn right here. We begin to learn that sincere friends, it can feel like they're wounding us at times. But we have to examine our heart and ask God and look at His Word and say, God, is this true? Is this right? And we can allow that thing that we feel like is the biggest wound to be healed. But here's the truth. It's better than an enemy who's just telling you what you want to hear and really doesn't want anything good for you. So that's a quick word today. Wounds of a sincere friend are faithful, and they're better than many kisses from an enemy. I hope that's something that you guys can think about today. I hope it's also something that encourages you and challenges you to pursue Jesus, to look at your heart and just to think about this as you go throughout today. So I hope you guys have an awesome Saturday. Have a great weekend.